be. It's a wonder that you still know how to breathe.
Israeli and American officials say the United States is planning to open its embassy in Jerusalem Al-Quds on May 14th. The decision will reportedly be announced officially later on Friday. Israel's intelligence minister has congratulated U.S. President Donald Trump on that move. The relocation has been planned to coincide with the 70th anniversary of the Israeli regime's installment in the Middle East in 1948. U.S. officials had initially announced that the move could take many months and perhaps years. On December 6th, U.S. President Donald Trump recognized Jerusalem Al-Quds as Israel's capital and announced that Washington would relocate its embassy to the holy city. The decision drew widespread condemnation from world leaders and sparked angry protests throughout the globe, which have continued to date.
My channel got taken down after close to 3 years on YouTube. I will be listing some of the old videos, the library. If I put on a brand new one, it will say new at the beginning of the title. So one thing we won't see is protesting Netanyahu, telling them to go home, get out of there. They're finished with him. We'll never see it. Press TV is funded in whole or part by the Iranian government. You think all the channels that are funded by the Israeli government have to list that? No. So if he's doing it on May 14th, the Israeli Declaration of Independence, State of Israel, May 14th, 1948. Yeah, okay. It's also the Palestinian Exodus, the Nakba. They're throwing it right in their face. This is bringing the emotions on both sides to a head. They're creating a showdown. They're creating a war. I have no idea how the other countries are going to fall in. This is a strange situation, but this is going to be it, May 14th, unless the U.S. changes its mind. Hezbollah says they have spies in Israel, and Hezbollah has beat Israel back into Israel twice now. Hezbollah, some bad boys, and they got Israel's number, and I don't know what Israel thinks they're going to do. More than 700,000 Palestinian Arabs fled or were expelled from their homes during the 48 Palestinian War. All the refugees started then. And they also Ramadan, sundown May 15th. This takes probably over a month of planning, I don't know. And there'll be fasting and there'll be praying. So the Zionists and the American Zionists are really taking this to the apex. This is going to happen, and this is going to bring all the Arabs mad as hell, the Muslims mad as hell, and the Israelis wanting their somehow false pride. And there's people that don't want it. Well, there will have to be some kind of distraction, obfuscation here if they're going to pull this off.
Excuse me, mister, just take a look around. Mister, just look up and you will see it coming down. Lord.
This is a book by John McPhee, The Control of Nature, and he's got 3 essays in here, and one of them is The Control of the Mississippi. It wants to meander, and we keep it in place. These are big stations with a lot of hydraulics that change the course. Those people that live all along that have property because the government has kept the water going down the same path to New Orleans for years. Both of these, the Missouri and the Mississippi, would be all over the place if we didn't control these anymore and just let them go natural. Is that getting back to coexisting with nature, like Max Moritz said? If they were ever to want to flood huge areas, this came about with Hurricane Katrina and how it failed in New Orleans. It's written before that, and they even talk about the vulnerabilities of the things in New Orleans. They could wipe out whole areas and say there was some problem with a part, like the freaking oil rigs. Seems like it would be good. They get land back so that no one can use it, and they get rid of people by a natural disaster and cut down the population. Usually the people that die are the older ones during any of these situations, these natural disasters. There was a mayor in Turkey that had an earthquake, and he said it was caused by another country did it. We got to get people like that. It hailed yesterday in this area, February 26, 12 o'clock. It was about 41 degrees, and there were regular size hail. Problem is, if you look at this, hail falls into the chair, this beach chair, with some of the sleet and rain that melted. It looks like these pieces of hail are fusing with each other and creating bigger balls of hail. What is causing that? You have hail come into water, they should start melting. Their energy doesn't go into fusing. The only way the fusing happens is if the temperature drops, they freeze together, and then the temperature raises again, and they continue to melt. This has got something in the water here that it's causing this kind of connections and the balling of these hail with getting bigger and bigger. This is within 15 minutes of when it came down. The water's from the same time. So what's going to happen in the mid-May? The Mississippi, he notes, it's only eclipsed the 40-foot flood stage at St. Louis about 10 times since 1785, 200 and whatever, 35 years, 33 years, but has done so in 2016, and 2017. And here comes up 2018 with the embassy being moved to Jerusalem, which is illegal in international law, and the UN set up that it would be an international city, and the Christians and the Muslims are getting whapped on. Wappy dappy. This area here in '93, there was a big storm, and I was traveling around. I was on outskirts there of the Missouri, but I wouldn't get any closer. I wasn't going to take pictures so I could show all my relatives these people suffering. And this is crazy. Extremely high flood threat, like 400 places in the United States in this area are measuring stations that are at flood stage. Yeah, okay. It kills 6 people in the Midwest already. South, as river levels remain high in Ohio Valley. I studied the Ohio River Valley because I was studying acid rain back in like 1982. I studied the Clean Air Act. You got those 3 rivers that come together here. That's where the coal plants were, and all the sulfur, they would basically go up in the chimneys, that they'd separate the sulfur from the coal. And then they invented scrubbers, which would clean the sulfur off of the coal without pollution going up the stacks. The Great Lakes and the lakes in Canada were all getting more acidic, and the life in them were dying. So the 2 catastrophic floods in less than 2 years wasn't just a case of bad luck. No, they're thinking it's global warming. This is all of the floods. In 2015, flooding killed 27 people in Missouri, more than the previous 7 years put together. 7 years combined, the highest total since 1993. 23 of the 27 died in motor vehicles. Flash flooding is the leading cause of flooding deaths, and historically, more than half of the people killed by the flooding were inside motor vehicles. Agenda 21, put them on bicycles, get them to have some playing cards in their spokes, get a little light, some streamers, make it be pink with a banana seat. And here's an important figure. Flash flooding kills far more people in the U.S. than tornadoes, lightning, or hurricanes, making it the primary killer among all severe weather hazards. Some of that is in the Southwest, Arizona, Utah, the Slot Canyons. 1 in 100,000 year rainfall caused Missouri floods. This is May 12th, 2017. They're calling for 3 to 5 inches tomorrow, Wednesday, the 28th. These two movies coming up are from Ontario just last week. One is a river that was iced up. The ice gets clogged underneath the bridges, causes more backup. And the other one is a raging river in Ontario too. These both come down to the Great Lakes and end up down in the Gulf of Mexico. All they have to do is organize more rain, and there will be massive flooding in this area. Thank you.
Don't idolize me, sacrifice me, please don't Judas me.
Legend lives on from the Chippewa down of the big lake they call Gitchagumi. Superior, they said, never gives up her dead when the gales of November come early. When supper time came, the old cook came on deck saying, fellas, it's too rough to feed you. At 7 p.m. a main hatchway gave in. He said, fellas, it's been good to know ya. The captain wired in, he had water coming in, and the good ship and crew was in peril. Later that night, when his lights went out of sight, came the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Does anyone know where the love of God goes when the words turn the minutes to hours?